Hey, what's up guys? Rett Harmon. I want to tell you guys a few things I've got set up on my boat. So we have a 2016 Tidewater 210. It's a 21-foot boat, center console. It's got a 150 Yamaha on it. And a couple things we set up on this boat that I want to show you guys. We have a lot of Minn Kota accessories and things like that. But the talons, the Atlas jack plate, and the turbo swing. So I want to show you guys these three things. I got them all set up together, and some modification I had to make with the ladder and stuff. So anyway, kind of walk back around, you kind of see some of the stuff behind me. Obviously we got the motor, and we've got the talons, and then those mounting brackets and stuff. So really cool setup. It was neat to get it all put together, and I really had a hard time finding, could we make all these items go on the boat at the same time, and would that actually work? Would something bind up? Would it function? And so far it's just been really well. I've had all these on here for at least a year. Obviously my boat's not the cleanest, we just get back from the lake, but we use it and have fun with it. So that's kind of what it's all about. So I'm all about functionality as much as anything. So that's a couple little tips I'll be showing you guys. Anyway, I'll flip it around and show you guys a little bit more about what we've got going. And this one installed right here for the jack plate. So that's the reason it's straight up and down. I'll try to keep the camera in the same spot. You can see what was going on with it. So now you can see it's much higher. It's actually a little tape in there measures how much higher. So it goes up about 6 inches or so total. So pretty neat little deal. Gives you a lot more height. So we'll flip back around. Now you can see in the back, much higher off the ground. So gives you a little bit more, I guess a little less water you can run, a little skinnier water. All right, guys. So I'm down here, kind of on behind the boat. So basically, you can see these talons, these long, tall things that are kind of coming off the side of the boat. Those are talon 12-foot, basically shallow water anchors. So there's the power pole, which is more of a hydraulic scenario, and the talon is completely electric. That's why I wanted to go with the talons. I thought it made a lot of sense for us, and rolled out pretty well. So the little brackets that we use for these talons are a necessity and a must, I think. They're, they're basically the little arms that come off to the side right here. Kind of point out at these things. There's two of them, one on each side. Started off, had just one talon on the boat, and then we ended up kind of switching out and adding two. And we found that with just the one talon, the boat would anchor, but it wanted to swing back and forth. So we like to pull it next to a dock and be able to drop both of them down and put the nose of the boat exactly where you want it, and that really helps us out a lot being able to do that. So if you notice on the boat here, this was the original ladder for it. And when I put the second talon on here, that really made it a lot more difficult for us to be able to get on and off the boat, obviously. So I had to kind of come up with something. This is not the best, but kind of modified to go a little aluminum bracket for something else, and I've kind of made it work with a different ladder to be able to swing down, drop down, and have it so it will work. But the turbo swing obviously is this little deal here. I've got it so it's kind of, it has a little bit of movement there, but it's got this pulley system right here. Really cool. And what that does is that allows us to pull the tube and actually have a lot of fun with it, and it makes it a little bit easier on the boat and on the kids riding on the tube. So it's a lot of fun there. And a little bonus I found out from this, we go to Florida a lot. You know, you're docking at different docks, you know, things like that, and a lot of pylons or poles that are out there. And I found that, you know, sometimes you're kind of moving around or other boats, it's nice to not, you know, or have a little bit of I guess a bumper or a little bit of a stop, so that you don't accidentally have your prop, you know, bang up against the dock or things like that. So it's really neat just having that little bit of a protection back there. Doesn't get in the way of stainless steel, so it doesn't rust, and that's a pretty good little setup. So that worked out really well for me, being able to attach, you know, the tubes and things for the kids. But the jack plate I really like a lot, because it gives us, actually I think it added about 3 inches of height on the actual motor, based off the factory, you know, settings, just bolting the motor directly to the transom on the boat. But I guess about 3 inches or so, it raised it there, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're really talking about skinny water or really shallow water, it makes a big difference on where you can actually take the boat and how it functions and maneuvers. You can trim the motor up, but you have very little steering capability there, and it's really, like I said, really hard to control. And then you have the props that can kind of hide under the water, and that's not really the best thing to do. So the jack plate actually will allow the motor to go an additional 6 inches higher, straight up and down, and that works out very well for being able to, you know, get in that shallower water. And you know, the motor still has to pull water so it cools, you know, for whatever, you know, wherever you are running. So it's important you don't get too high with it. I can go about 5.5 inches or so additional with the jack plate. That last half an inch or whatever is pulling a little bit of air, and that can cause your motor to overheat and cause damage. So that's not something you want to do. But having them all three mounted together, the talons, which are mounted to the Atlas jack plate with their special mounting brackets, as well as the turbo swings mounted to that jack plate as well, it functions very well and does pretty much everything we want it to do for our family. So it's a lot of fun, and you can have all those on there together, which I have not really seen anyone with that completely with that setup yet, with the jack plate, the talons, and the turbo swing. So kind of a cool thing. Now the talons can mount directly to the back of the boat, but you're putting more holes in your transom, and I just, you know, I don't see the point in putting additional holes in a boat, you know, to have more water come inside of it. So I like the fact that it could just mount up to what was there, and made a lot of sense for us. So the additional brackets were in the $300 range each, which was very steep. I had a hard time, you know, justifying that to start with, but once I saw kind of what it's made from, all the different adjustments with it, so it was a no-brainer. And plus not having to, you know, drill holes, you know, 4 more holes through the hull of your boat. That's not really, you know, what you want to do. So anyway, functions very well. We love it, and it works. It's pretty neat. So a couple little remote controls come with the talons. One's for each one. I think there may be some kind of way to program them differently, and I have them around my neck, which I really don't use these. I have the other, it came with 2. Other ones that were kind of mounted to the dash. A little tip I found, or found out from the dealership Marine South that installed this for me. Basically said, be careful leaving these remotes on a keychain. A lot of times that you're riding down the road and they may flop around and actually touch a key or touch something else. You can accidentally deploy the talon going down the road, which basically it's a 4-foot rod that comes down first, and then there's 2 other stages after that that are inside of this that basically lets it go down, you know, 12 feet or what these are. So another thing you want to make sure to do is turn your batteries off. So like I have it set where I can flip all my batteries can be completely turned off, and none of the electronics will work, with the exception of the bypass for the bilge pump. You know, that obviously needs to always work in the event rainwater or things like that get inside your boat. So anyway, little helpful tip for you there to make sure you don't accidentally damage your stuff. Also, something to be aware of is just, you know, the sheer height of this. Obviously this boat has a T-top on it, but these talons, you know, they do stick up. Obviously it's another 4.5 feet. over the top of your boat. So if you're not used to having those and you back into a garage, you would hit the top of a garage actually with that. Even if the boat didn't have the T-top, it would maybe make it so you couldn't put inside of a garage properly. So anyway, a lot of little things to think about and know about when you're having fun on the water and deciding how you want to rig out your boat. So hopefully this has been helpful, and if you got any questions, comment, like, subscribe below. Thanks.